All right. Hello, everyone. I hope that you can all hear me. I'm going to give this a go. And if there is anyone listening, please let me know if you can hear me because we are going live. I'm just checking on here. All right. So today we are going to be discussing the lunar connection. So, how the moon confirms the month. So, we're going to take a deep dive into the confirmation of the months, but just so you are aware, I'm not saying that the moon determines our month, but the key word is confirms. So, it is a witness to our months. And if you have followed me for a while, you know that the sun determines the month. The key phrase again is determines, right? So the sun does determine the month. Now, the moon confirms the month contrary to what is being shown on other calendars. So I have shown you the astrolabe. Let me go ahead and bring myself into this picture here. So forgive me, everyone. This is my first time doing a live, and I just want to welcome you. But we are going to be digging into something probably new to you for those who are keeping the Zadok calendar, because we are trying to get away from the moon determining our months. But yet, here is Tina telling you that the moon does, in fact, have a part in our calendar. So, I'm going to show you today how it does affect our calendar. So, again, I have shown you the astrolabe and how it works. Basics, right? I've given you the basics so far. But if you learn about the angles and the degrees in the sky, you can tell a lot by Yah's calendar and where we are in the calendar. So let me go ahead and bring you into this presentation. Now, I hope that I'm doing it correctly. Again, I'm sorry if I mess up. This is my first time trying all of this. All right. So we know that Yah's calendar pretty much comes out at night. We can see certain things. We can tell what hour it is usually based on the sun, but the majority of what we can learn is actually at night. And so today I'm going to show you what we can learn at night. Now, over and over, I have shown you on my posts, for example, this one here, I will go into saying, oh, we have a new moon today, and it means that it's confirming the 7th month. So this is an example of me showing you on this month that there was a new moon on this particular day, and I said that it confirms the 7th month. So what does that mean, really? Let's see what this really means, okay? So the reason why I'm bringing this up, I know there are a lot of channels out there who are following a Zadok calendar. But if you noticed in 2025, there was a huge rift in the Zadok calendar. Some people who were keeping it decided to intercalate and they jumped forward and made 2025 into a leap year, while there were others who did not leap forward. And that is for those of us who are understanding that all of the luminaries have to match up. So we are the ones who held back and did not intercalate. And I do also believe that people did intercalate because of misinformation. And so today I'm going to show you what you can show your friends who are keeping a different Zadok calendar, or even a calendar that is using the moon to determine their months. So let me go to my next screen. I do see some of you here. So if you're joining me now, this is my first time doing a live stream. So this is all new to me, and technology is not my thing. Bear with me. But I will also take a few questions at the end. So if you hang out and you have some questions that are specifically about this presentation, I will gladly accept a few questions at the end for you. All right, so let's go to the next slide. And let me see here. It's going to take a little while for me to get used to this. So here I am. Hello, everyone. All right. All right. Thank you, Cheryl's Country Living. Thank you. It's all new to me. You can teach an old dog new tricks, but man, this is definitely not up my alley. All right. So here is something that I really need to crush, and that is people who are talking about something called the precession of the stars for the equinox. This is a myth that we need to crush today because there is no precession of the stars. And yeah, I'm going to prove that today. Okay, so those who are who intercalated this year, for example, they're the same people who are using some NASA information, and we'll get to that in just a moment, stating that there was a precession in the stars in the recent history where Aries no longer became the constellation for the first month, but it is now in Pisces. And this is where we need to dig in, okay? This is, in my opinion, a lot of hogwash, and this is what you need to look at. This is why I do not believe everything that I see. I looked into it. I couldn't figure out why everyone was talking about the fact that the year was starting in Pisces. So I looked up the definition of precession of the stars. So if you take a look here, the precession of the stars. Now this is from Wikipedia. Now, maybe you believe this, but to me, I think it's hogwash. It says, the precession of the stars typically refers to the precession of the equinoxes, a gradual shift in the Earth's rotational axis that affects the position of the stars and the constellations over time. So first of all, the Wikipedia and NASA and all of these groups are using NASA hubbub to give you this information. They're showing you, we know, well, most of us here probably agree that we do not live on a globe. So this already should be tossed out the door. What is the precession? The precession is the slow, continuous change in the orientation of the astronomical body's rotational axis. For Earth, this phenomenon is primarily caused by gravitational forces exerted by the sun and the moon on Earth's equatorial bulge. This result is a gradual shift in the direction of the Earth's axis, completing a full cycle. Okay, so this is that whole wobble. They're telling you that this precession of the stars and the constellations is all because of the Earth's wobble. So, and I'm not trying to make fun of them, but a lot of the people who are in, let's say, the Torah movement, a lot of people who are following even a Zadok calendar, perhaps, believe that the Earth is not a globe. And so why are they listening to this information is beyond me. Let's continue to read what this says. The precession of the equinoxes specifically refers to the observable movement of the equinoxes along the ecliptic plane, which causes the position of the stars to appear to shift over time. The effect results in the equinoxes moving westward along the ecliptic relative to the fixed stars. Okay, so if you believe this, then you're falling back into the trap of NASA. So again, there are flat earthers out there who are biblical cosmologists out there who are promoting perhaps the Zadok calendar, but yet they're going along with this precession of the stars. Now, I don't believe that the Father's system is wobbling. Okay, so this is where I'm going to say this is a bunch of hogwash that they're feeding you. Let's take a look at what else it says. Historical significance. Historically, the precession of the equinoxes has been crucial for various cultures in tracking time and understanding celestial events. That is correct. So, well, the precession not, but using the equinoxes to tell us uh, when the year starts, definitely, right? Our ancestors did, in fact, use that. Okay. And then it goes on to talk about something else that I really have a problem with. The current North Star, Polaris, will eventually change as the precession continues, with other stars like Vega becoming the North Star in the future. Folks, I have introduced, let me try this here. I have introduced the astrolabe. This is an ancient device. I'm not this particular one, but our ancestors used devices like this for thousands of years. And Polaris on this device has always been the same. It's always right here in the center. Let me see if I can get that closer. This represents Polaris. So when you look at your night sky, it's in the same position. They didn't change it over time. This same device has been used, and you can look at really old ones. They're really exciting to look at. So our ancestors used the same device that we can actually go outside tonight and look up at our sky, and this is still going to be accurate. Nothing has changed. All right, let me try to go back here. All right, so let's continue on here. The says the zodiac astrology. The precession affects the zodiac signs as the positions of the constellations shift over a millennia. Were you there a millennia ago? Do we have witnesses a millennia ago? Do we have witnesses in ancient historical documents or books that tell us that the constellations have shifted? I haven't read anything, right? I haven't read anything to tell me this. So the changing position of the North Star and other celestial markers has implications for navigational and astronomy as the reference points in the sky gradually shift. Now, there are also tools that have been used for thousands of years that help us to navigate the seas. I don't think that those have changed over time, and they're still navigating correctly. And I mean, they're probably using computers nowadays, but those ancient tools can still, in fact, be used today, is what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so let's take a look here. So a note that I have here is that if we're going to believe this information, then go for it. But I don't believe we're shifting. I don't believe we're wobbling. And I want to test this in a moment. We're going to test this with scripture because I'm not just coming out here and saying I got it all together, but we're going to test it with scripture in just a moment. So let me go on to the next page here. So here is something else. So when I first started looking into the stars, the luminaries, and devices like this astrolabe. Now the astrolabe, all astrolabes should, I'll get into that in a moment. All astrolabes should be starting around March 20th. It should actually show you in Aries. So when I started looking into everything about the luminaries and learning about the constellations, I didn't even know about, the only thing I ever learned about the constellations was you should stay away from them because that's horoscopes and things like that. You shouldn't really look into that. So it's all fairly new to me. I'm still learning about the constellations, and there's a lot to learn, and I think it's going to take me a very long time. But when I started looking into it, I learned about the thing called the first point of Aries. And that is why these tools start us out in the spring with Aries, not Pisces. These have never changed. And if you find an astrolabe, I always tell everyone, make sure that it starts in Aries. If they are a good astrolabe maker, they're still making it with Aries. There are some new ones that are coming out, and I mean new in the last five years or so. They're starting to put Pisces in there because that's what NASA is telling them. That's what your apps, if you have a phone app like Stellarium, things like that, they're also telling you misinformation. And I've actually gone outside with my astrolabe and proved those apps incorrect. And I know that I've mentioned that several times on my channel. Okay, so the first point of Aries is also known as the cusp of Aries, or the vernal point, is the location of the March equinox. Well, what do you know? We have this on Wikipedia, free encyclopedia here. It's actually telling us that the first point of Aries is the vernal equinox, which is correct. And then it goes on to talk about the equinox and the first point of, let's see here, that the first point of Libra is located exactly 180 degrees from it. And that's going to come into play in just a little bit because we're going to be using degrees today. And we're going to be looking at Libra and Aries a lot with tonight's discussion. So when I was looking this information up to learn about the constellations, I learned about the first point of Aries. All of these places that I went to, all these books and everything I went to said the first point of Aries is the vernal equinox. And then what's interesting is they started, when I went back in recently and started looking at the same information, they started putting this last piece on here. And this wasn't there a few years ago. When I started researching, they didn't have this part in any of these documents that I looked up when I was originally doing my research. And it now says the position of the sun when at the March equinox is now in Pisces. That information was not there a few years ago. I promise, when I first did my research into the luminaries, this last part of the sentence here was not in any of these documents that I was looking up. This, I do not know why. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. But somehow, some way, I believe that there is someone out there higher up who wants to cause confusion. And it is causing confusion even in the community who is trying to follow Yah's calendar. Okay? And so we're going to get into that, and we're going to get into some degree information with the Aries and Libra. So Aries is the first month, Libra is the 7th month, which is what we're in today. And so that's going to come into the conversation. So keep that in mind. Let me go here. Okay. So no, we don't have a procession of time or constellations. NASA is creating confusion. They are fixed in the movement. Everything that the Father has is a clock. It's clockwork. And we don't wobble to and fro, okay? We know, based on Scripture, that we have a different cosmology than what we're being told, right? This is where you have to test everything. And this is the Romans 3:4 is one I had to bring up today is, yea, let Elohim be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that you might be justified in your sayings and might overcome when you are judged. Okay? Everyone out there could be leading you astray. It is really hard. My husband and I talk about it all the time. It's hard to swim through, all the fishes that are going the opposite direction. It's hard to find that needle in the haystack, the truth amongst all the lies. And this is one that is a huge lie out there. And I believe it's because the adversary doesn't want us following Yah's calendar. He doesn't want us going back to the ways that our ancestors held true. Okay, so we need to test everything and even test me. Go out, get your astrolabes. I tell everybody, go get your astrolabes. Go check it out. Don't just believe me. I have actually used this literally looking up at the sky, and the app is telling me one thing, but I'm looking up and seeing something different. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see what Enoch says about the stars. All right. Let me see here. I got to figure this out. I'm going to show you that. All right. Okay. Enoch says in 74:10, thus I beheld their station as according to the fixed order of the months, the sun rises and sets. Key word, fixed. See what he says in Enoch 82:8. Truly has been stated and accurately has been calculated that which is marked down. So he's saying it's accurate, okay? It's accurate. For the luminaries, the months, the fixed periods, the years, and the days. Uriel has explained to me and communicated to me, whom Yahweh of all creation on my account commanded, according to the might of heaven and the power which it possesses both by night and by day to explain lights to man, of the sun, the moon, the stars, and of all the powers of heaven, which are turned with their respective orbs. So they're turning respectively in order, right? And they're in a fixed pattern. We're not wobbling. We're not having a procession of the stars for the equinox. Think about that. Is Enoch lying to us? I don't think so. All right. Enoch 72. Okay. We know that Enoch was given insight to everything, including the calendar and future events. If you discount what he's saying, you're calling him a liar. Okay. Elohim is not setting him up to be a liar, right? Enoch tells us exactly how things are to be until the new creation has come. Let's see what he says. The book of the revolutions, or courses of the luminaries of the heaven, the relations of each according to their classes, their dominion, and their seasons, according to their names and places of origin, and according to their months, which Uriel, the holy angel who was with me, who is their guide. So Uriel is the guy to talk to when you're talking about the luminaries, and Enoch is talking to the right guy. So he says, he showed me, and he showed me all their laws, exactly how they are, and how it is with regard to all the years of the world and unto eternity, till the new creation is accomplished, which endures till eternity. The Sefer version says, the whole account of them according to every year of the world forever, until a new work shall be effected, which will be eternal. So what is Enoch telling us? He's telling us that it's fixed and it's going to happen year after year after year in the same fashion until when? Until we get the new heaven, the new earth, until there is a new creation, right? So are you going to believe this procession of the stars and the equinoxes, or are you going to believe Enoch? Good question, right? All right, let's take a look. So today, let me bring myself back in here. Let's see. I'm having fun here. Okay. Too many moving parts. Okay. All right. So today we're going to be looking at a new tool. I know that I have given you guys the astrolabe, but today we're going to be talking about this new tool. Let me see. Can I do this? Can I do this? All right. This one is called the Lunar Volvel. Okay. Yes, it's just very similar. There's a difference here with this lunar volvel. Something that the astrolabe doesn't do. Oh, my screen is going dark. I do not know why. Oh my goodness. Anyway, all right, back to the screen. So the lunar volvel is tracking the moon for us, where we can't actually do that on the astrolabe. So you've probably seen this before, as I have mentioned it a few times in the past. But this one, this lunar volvel, has actually been found in a lot of ancient books. So the one here down at the lower left hand is actually a photo of a book. So back in the 1500s, I've even seen some back in 1000, I believe, CE or AD, whatever you want to call it, that these were in books and they have moving parts. So you can actually move this little red hand, which is the moon, and the blue one is where the sun is. So you can actually move it around. So I think that are really cool ancient books that are out there. All right, so let me see here. Okay. Sorry, I'm just taking a look to make sure I haven't missed anything in my notes. Okay, so taking a look at this on this page, I know you all can't see it really well, but on this particular page, it is showing you, up here is the sun, and down here is the moon. Now, we know, if you've listened to me enough, when the sun and the moon are in the same spot, that's the new moon, right? When they are directly 180 degrees from each other, that's when it is a full moon. And the really cool part about the lunar volvel, let me see. I don't know if my screen is still going dark, so let's try this. See if I'm dark. I'm dark. I don't know why. It's very interesting. I don't know why. You know, technology. I don't like it. But this lunar volvel here, it actually has a thing right here, this little hole. If you move this around, oh, I bet it's, oh man, I'm not so good at this. Anyway, so you move it around and it actually shows you the phase of the moon that you have. So here we go. Look, see, 50%, about 50%, right? There we go. So this is when it is a full moon, and when they're together, it has a black or brown spot. So that shows you that it's a new moon. Okay, so we know that when the moon drifts away, we have different percentages of light. So that is what's going on here. This is really exciting. So this is pretty much the same information that the astrolabe has on it. So it has the months, it has the constellations and the days, so you can figure out what day it is. And the key part about the volvel is you do need to know how many days past the new moon you are. And then there's these little numbers right around here. So when it's 15 days past the new moon, they're going to be directly the opposite of each other. Okay, so yes, I'm introducing you guys to a whole new tool, but I think it's very handy. And I'll show you why it's handy, because this is how we prove those naysayers wrong. Okay, so we do need to get out a little more at night. I am not a night owl. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just not. But to test these, you can do it right as the sun goes down. But this is actually going to be a huge asset to your tools. All right, so let me see here. Let me see. I think this one has, if you look at the sun on this screen, the sun is up in what looks like Leo, right? If you can see it, Leo starts here and it goes through. So the sun is actually in Leo on this picture. And this is just a picture of my own lunar volvel. You can get different ones probably. I just really like this one. And then this has a full moon directly across, which is in Aquarius. If you've watched my Zadok calendar videos, you know that we talk about something called the lunar opposites. So when you have a sun in one location, you know 180 degrees from that particular constellation, you're going to have that full moon in the opposite. So if you're outside and you're looking in your western sky and your sun just went down, and let's say it's a full moon coming up on your eastern horizon, this is what you're going to see. It's 180 degrees. So you have the sun setting in your west and you have the moon coming up in your east. So these two signs in the heavens are witnessing to each other. They're one's going down, one's coming up, but they're still a witness to each other. And we're going to get more into that in just a moment. So let me not get too ahead of myself. Okay, so these tools, the astrolabe and the lunar vulvel, will help us get back to the ancient way of keeping time, and it actually will help us with our Zadok calendar. So, let me see. All right. And let's see here. So we know that when we begin our year, and it begins in Aries, right? The year begins in Aries. We count the clock goes. Let me see here. How can I explain this to you? We go Aries, Taurus, and then it goes around in a circle. So they shift every 30 days. You're going to have the sun in a new constellation, right? So we also can figure out our month, not only with the sun, but with the moon and where it is at. And I'm going to get to that. Let's take a look here. I'm going to go to my next page. All right, so we are going to test some things today. For example, I am trying to tell you how NASA is wrong. I'm trying to tell you how those who are saying that the year begins in Pisces is wrong. But really, what we're going to talk about is we need to figure out if we are in fact on the right calendar, right? You all want to know if we're on the right calendar. What if I told you that the Father has it all in the sun and the moon and where the sun and the moon are? So we're going to test today whether Enoch is telling us the truth or if NASA is. Okay, only one of those can be correct, right? So we are going to look at the 7th month. Since we're in the 7th month right now, we are going to look at the 7th month based on not intercalating for 2025 and why I did not intercalate for 2025. And we will also test those who did intercalate. So I want to give you guys everything you need all in one presentation here to be able to show others why you didn't intercalate if you're doing the same calendar that I am. But maybe you did it because somebody you know is doing it, right? But how about today I give you proof that we are actually in the right month. And it's going to need proof with where the moon is during the month. So we're going to take a look. This is our month 7. We know the 7th month, the sun is in Libra. Okay, so when I made my calendar, if you don't have this calendar, it is on my channel page. There is an introduction and there's a link in that section, and you can look at this and print it out if you want. So I didn't intercalate this year. So our 7th month began on September 17th. Okay, for those who intercalated, they began on September 24th, right? All right, we'll get to theirs in a little bit. So ours started September 17th and it goes until October 16th. Now, we are going to see how the moon confirms the months with the other luminaries, the stars. Okay? Okay, so we have some full moons and new moons in the months of September and October. We're going to test this information. Okay, so on September 7th, there was a full moon. There was a new moon on September 21st. There is also a full moon on October 6th and a full moon on October 21st. So we have all of these. We need to look at where these moons are in the sky, what constellation they are in, and it will actually tell us if we are in the correct time frame. Okay, so we're going to verify when the 7th month would occur according to the Zadok calendar. And again, when I call it the Zadok calendar, that's not because the Zadok priests made this calendar. This was obviously a calendar that Enoch gave to us. So some people call it the Enoch calendar. If you're new to the channel, it's the Enoch calendar, the Dead Sea Scrolls calendar, the Zadok calendar, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of confusion. You know, there are lots of groups that call it their own calendar, the heavenly calendar, or Yah's calendar, or, you know, let's just, for tonight's sake, I'm calling it the Zadok calendar without intercalation, okay? So, do you know that the heavens are arranged as the calendar? Most of you do, right? So, we also can find out, again, we can find out where we are based on those 4 things that are on the screen right there. So we're going to take a look at which of these 4 moons are in the 7th month. So if you've been following my channel for any period of time, we know that the criteria for a month, we need to have a new moon and a full moon in the same zodiac. And I'll explain that in just a moment. So we need to have a new moon in Libra because Libra is the month that we're in. So they have to match up, right? We also need to have a full moon where the moon is in Aries, which is 180 degrees from Libra, okay? So if they're in any other constellations, they're in a different month. So I know that might sound confusing, but we're going to go through it in just a moment. Okay. So where the sun and moon are in the sky helps us to configure the clock. Okay, the easiest way to start is to learn new moons and full moons. So that's where we're going to go today, is specifically new moons and full moons. If you get better at this, you're going to be able to do this when it's a quarter moon or whatnot. And you can add that to your repertoire. You know, I am not that great at it, and I still need my astrolabe and my lunar volvel. But I can be accurate with the new moon and full moon. So I'm going to show you tonight how to do that. Okay, so specifically, we're just going to be, you know, attacking the new moon, full moon, and because we don't need any calculations, we don't need any protractors out there. If you know what a 90-degree angle is, you're good to go. If you know what 180 degrees is, you're good to go. So that's all you need today. You don't need to do all these other angles, but eventually, just by where the moon is from the sun, you're going to get really good at this, I promise. Okay, so on this screen over here on the right, we're actually showing you, here we go. We have Pisces. We have the sun in Pisces here. And a full moon is the lunar opposites. Remember, I was talking about lunar opposites. So when it's a full moon, it's always going to be opposite in the opposite place than where the sun is. That's 180 degrees, right? So this is a full moon in Virgo, okay? So those are called lunar opposites. So if you know 180 degrees and 90 degrees, you're going to be able to tackle this next thing with me. Okay, so um, let's see here. All right, so, oh yeah, okay. So right here we have the picture of my astrolabe, and then we have the lunar volvelle. So these are what they look like kind of close up, I guess. All right. All right, we're going to move along. So we're going to test our theories here and figure out what month we're in. So we have September of 2025 here. Now, I showed you what the moons were going back. Boop, boop, boop. Here's the moons that we're going to test. September 7th, according to the Gregorian calendar. September 21st, October 6th, October 21st. So if we take a look at this September 2025 here, the full moon, they say, was either the 6th or the 7th. So depending on, this is an app that I use called the Moon Phase app, and I believe it's only available still just for iPhone users, but it comes in handy. Okay, so we're going to look at this full moon. And on this app, you can go from here to here and you can see where the moon is. So on September 6th and 7th, let's take a look what constellations that moon was in. So on the 7th, it was in Pisces. Now, something to keep in mind is that this app switches over at midnight. And so when you're looking at it, you actually look here and then you look at the next day to kind of see where it is in the sky. So on September 7th, the moon was in Pisces. So that means it's not our 7th month. Why do I say that? Well, what are we looking for? What's our criteria? We need the full moon to be 180 degrees from Libra. So what would that be? That's going to be Aries. So we're looking for a full moon in Aries. But this particular one is in Pisces. So that is telling me September 7th, we have not hit our 7th month. Okay? All right. So we're going to go to our next one. The morning, or sorry, let's see. We're going to look, oh, sorry, I'm getting carried away. Over here is another feature on this app I should show you. It's called the Clock of Life. So not only does it tell you what phase the moon is, it tells you what constellation it's in, but you can actually change the date. You can't change the time, or else I would do that. But you can change the date, and it will tell you where the sun and moon are. So the yellow represents where the sun is, and the white is where the moon is. So this was September 7th. So again, it's in Pisces. We are again looking for Aries and Libra. That's all we're looking for, because we want to find out when the 7th month is. Okay? All right, let's see here. All right, we are also looking at the 21st of September. Where is this new moon at? New moon is going from Virgo into Libra. Ooh, we just hit Libra. That's what we're looking for. Our goal is to find Libra and Aries. So this is telling me that September 21st is, in fact, in our 7th month. So between the 7th and the 21st, somewhere after the 7th, in and around here, is when our 7th month began. Okay, we're going to look into this a little bit deeper. Let me see. Yep, and of course, my screen is not changing. So, technical difficulties. Okay, there we go. No, that's not it. I don't know why it is not changing. Everything just froze up on me, so give me a second here. Well, lovely. Lovely. Okay, so since we are live, I'm just going to wait until my computer stops doing something very strange and take a look at the comments. All right, so we have some people are saying that they did intercalate based on priestly courses. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why my computer is freezing up, so give me a moment. It says it's not responding. So, oh, maybe it's there again. Okay, there we go. Okay, pardon me, everyone. All right, so the next screen showed up. So, oh, wonderful. Okay, so we were there, and we are going to the next screen. Okay, so here is a picture of the lunar volvel. This is showing the full moon on September 7th. So remember, the full moon on September 7th said it was in Pisces. Now here's how you test it with the lunar volvel. So here's my sun, and it was September 7th. So here is where September begins, and I counted over 7 spots. Okay, so the sun is in Virgo, and the moon was in Pisces. Here's Pisces up here at the top. I don't think it's showing. Let's see here. Let me see if can you see? Let's see. Is it working? Oh, it is working. Okay, my computer keeps freezing. I apologize. Okay, so the sun is in Virgo and the moon is in that we are in the 7th month at that September 7th date. Okay, so now we're going to go to the 21st again. And we saw that it went from Virgo. Remember, they change over at midnight. So that night, it's changing from Virgo to Libra. That's what we're looking for. So this is a match for the 7th month. So this means that we at least know where our start date should be. So after the 8th, but before the 21st, somewhere in here. Now, this is great because it matches our start date, which was on September 17th. Now, remember, there were those who intercalated and they didn't start their month until the 24th. So over here. Okay, so they're past this time frame. Okay, so we're going to get to that in just a minute. But this is how we're going to be able to spot when our 7th month is. So let's take a look at the next screen. Here is the lunar volvel on the 21st of September. So number 1 here, this is the 21st. So here is 10, right? We got 20, 21, right? So then we have this. It just went over into where? We have it in Libra, right? So this is showing us that we are, in fact, in Libra on the 21st. We are inside of Libra. I have number 2. The number 2 here is that arrow right here. So it's going from Virgo right here. We're just inside of Libra. Okay, so now we've hit the parameter of the beginning of the 7th month. So we just got over into this next section of Libra, which is what we're looking for. Okay, so now we know our starting point. Now we don't have an exact day yet, but we know between a couple of dates that we should have the beginning of our 7th month based on where the moon is, because the moon is confirming our month. Okay, so now we're going to check out the other moons. So we have the October 6th full moon. So right here, the October 6th full moon. Let's see where it's at. Ooh, look, it's in Aries. So here I'm just showing you how you can prove that we are in the 7th month. So October 6th is indeed either an Aries, we're looking for an Aries or a Libra for our 7th month. So we're seeing that the full moon is in Aries. You see what I'm saying? So we've actually confirmed that October 6th is still within our 7th month. But now we're going to look at October 21st. There is a new moon here. Let's see where it's at. It's going from Libra into Scorpio. So it has left the building. So the 21st is not in the 7th month. The 21st is in the 8th month. So now we have, it's like a bookend. We have one parameter. We know when the 7th month is going to start within a certain amount of time. And we now know that the 7th month ended before the 21st of October. Does that make sense? I hope you're all seeing this. So here is the clock of life again on October 6th. It's showing me that the sun is in Libra and the moon is in Aries. This is what we're looking for. This is where the moon confirms the month. We are, in fact, in the 7th month on October 6th. October 21st, it goes from Libra into Scorpio. We are no longer in the 7th month. You guys see what I'm putting down here? So we have the moon confirming where we are and the parameters that we need for our 7th month. So let's take a look and see if our 7th month ended by the 20th. Let's take a look. Okay, maybe not. I am having computer problems again. All right, lovely. Okay, so we will wait. I do not know why I'm having computer problems. Anyway, while I'm waiting for my computer to stop telling me it's not responding, we will talk about something. So you see a bookend. Let me go to a full screen here. Okay, so again, I'm having all of these problems, so my apologies. Okay, so we saw two dates, kind of like a bookend, right? So we know our parameters started, what was that? After the 7th of September, and it went to about the 20th, right? So we're looking at parameters. Let's see here. Did my slide change? Oh, here we go. Okay, it did change. My apologies. Oh, yay. So the parameters we see. So October 6th was well within what we needed for a 7th month. It's a perfect match. The moon confirmed the 7th month. So now if I change screens, yeah, it's working. The new moon on October 21st, right here, if you take a look, here's October, and I went to the 21st spot on this lunar volvelle. Oh, it's not showing. I'm not doing so great. Here we go. All right. 21st, right here on the lunar volvelle, Libra ended, and it's already into the next constellation. So October 21st, the sun and moon are now both in Scorpio. So that means by October 21st, we should officially be in our 8th month. So keep those things in mind for those people who leaked this year. They're thinking that October 21st is still in their 7th month. So this is where we need to confirm all the luminaries. Let's see. I do see you, Christine, here. I saw your question. What app is it again? The app is called, let me actually go to the app. It is called, just called The Moon. I think it's called The Moon. Let me show you. Yeah. I think it's called Phases. The Moon Phases. It's only available on iPhones. unfortunately, and I have found other apps, but they're just not as good. I'm going to go to my app store real quick and type it in and see if I can find it. Yeah, it's called The Moon. Let me go here and show you. Oh, that's not going to work out. The Moon. Oops. The Moon. What is it called? Oh. Calendar. The Moon calendar and moon phases. Yeah, there's other ones on here that I'm looking at, but again, I really like this one, and I haven't found one that I like any better. But I will show you. I will put maybe a picture, a screenshot, or something on my channel again, so that people can see what app that is. All right, let's get back here. Okay, so we're on the October 21st. Okay. So again, we're trying to confirm the 7th month. Now, I'm going to go to my next screen here. So again, what I have for my 7th month began on September 17th and ends on October 16th. So my first new moon was September 21st. We confirmed that that new moon was in fact in Libra. Then we have the full moon on October 6th. We confirmed that full moon was 180 degrees from Libra and it was in Aries. Okay, so that's my moons for the 7th month. Okay, so then we have the end date of October 16th. Does the 7th month on this calendar end before the 20th? Yes, that's what we're looking for. So we began and ended with the parameters that we needed. So there are, again, those in the alternative Zadok calendar who began their month on September 24th, and they ended on they will end on October 23rd. So we already identified that the 21st of October is outside the parameters for the 7th month. Okay, so they are outside the parameters. The Father has this clock and his patterns in the sky for a reason, and this helps us to find the bookends that we need to determine our 7th month. Okay, so let's go to this next slide. So for my 8th month, October 21st, we know that this new moon was in Scorpio. But remember, those who intercalated, this is still within their 7th month. Their 7th month ends over here. This moon is already in Scorpio. I hope this is making sense to you. If you want, again, take a look at an astrolabe. Oh, I should show you something here. Let me bring something up. Let me make sure you guys can see this. If you don't have an astrolabe and you don't want to buy one right now, there is a website called the www.astrolabeproject.com. If you go on here, you can go over here and find an astrolabe simulator. And they also have a lunar volvel simulator. Let's take a look at this. So this is the lunar volvel, and you can move it around and figure things out. So you have to get used to finding things, but what you can do is you can move the sun and moon into different places. So you can play around with it, see how it moves. I'm moving the sun, right? So, and it also, this is where you see the phase of the moon, right? So when it's 180 degrees, you're going to have a full moon. When it is right up with the sun, that's when you have your new moon. So if you don't have one yet, you can do this. The only problem, though, is when you get an astrolabe, you need to get one for your latitude. And this is a great astrolabe, but you have to live in the 40-degree latitude area for this information to be accurate for you when you go outside. It will be pretty close, well, I guess if you live there. For example, I live in the 43rd degree, but I have an astrolabe for 45 degrees, so it's just slightly off by a couple degrees. But, if you don't have anything, you want to just start out, play around. If you go up to the top, you can move this around and you can flip it to the back of the astrolabe. It's a pretty exciting little tool. So I just wanted to show you that. Again, that's www.astrolabeproject.com. Anyway, all right. I'm all about freebies. So if you want a freebie, there you go. All right. So let's get back here to the 8th month. Okay. All right. So I hope that you're seeing the pattern that I'm showing you. So we can verify what month we're in. And I just showed you that those people who intercalated, their 8th month doesn't start until October 22nd, or sorry, 24th. And so their 8th month is too late for the 7th month where the moon is, okay? So let's take a look at calendar. This is a calendar for the group who intercalated for 2025. So they leaped forward. So this is our calendar. I just inserted a couple of words and check marks and stuff. So this is the 7th month for those who intercalated. They began their first day on September 24th. Okay. On September 21st, we already saw that the new moon was indeed in Libra. So I put a check mark. So that's correct. It should be there. Okay. So if we're going by their information, sure, they have their 7th month starting in Libra, and that's good. Their full moon is also good. It is in Aries. That's a good information. This was October 6th. We found that the full moon was indeed in Aries. But then we're still in their 7th month. October 21st, what did we find? We found that the new moon on September 21st was already in Scorpio. So this is why the parameters don't work for those who intercalated this year. Does that make sense? All right. Yeah, their moons just don't match. So this is also going to apply for those friends of ours who do the conjunction of the moon or the sliver of the moon, and you can show them the same information. Our moons should be matching the month that we're in. So here we have an example of a 7th month according to those who are following the sliver of the moon. So their September 6th, right here, they have a full moon. We already looked at September 6th and we found that this full moon was still in Pisces. It should be in Aries. We're looking for Aries, but it was in Pisces. So September 6th cannot be in September 6th cannot be in our 7th month. Okay. Their new moon on September 21st does check out, right? So, but their sliver of the moon, that checks out. But September 6th should not be within the criteria, the parameters, or the bookends. Okay, so this is inaccurate. So although they're partially right, just like these guys were partially right, they got 2 check marks, but they're wrong here. These guys are partially right because they have one moon within the 7th month time frame, but this other one doesn't match. This September 6th should have been in their 6th month. Does that make sense? All right. So, other things that I have also shared with you guys is that the Big Dipper or Ursa Major also needs to align for the season. So we have here what you should be seeing outside in your northern sky at night in the fall. You should see your Big Dipper looking like this. And then it clicks over towards this position in winter. So we're also able to see his calendar based on our seasons. So everything aligns. He has these patterns for a reason. Each season, you should see this shift, right? It's an indication that the season is changing. They shift to these positions. Go out tonight, 11 p.m. ish, maybe midnight, 1 o'clock, and see where you see the dipper. Okay, it should be something similar to this position. I had a friend of mine just send me a picture of someone who took a picture of the dipper and it was in this position. So we can, in fact, know that we are in the correct season. Okay, so as you can see, that what I have shown you, our particular Zadok calendar did not intercalate, and we didn't intercalate for Abib, so this moon test can be done for every single month of the year. So go back to March and take a look at where the moon was each night in March, or each full moon, new moon in March and April. Look at all of them. Now remember, a lot of the apps shift over at midnight, so you have to look at the one that the new moon is on or the full moon is on, but also look at the one next to the day next to it to kind of see where it's moving to. And it should be matching up. So the new moon for our Abib should be where? If you're paying attention, our new moon for Abib should be in Aries. Our full moon for Abib should be in Libra, the opposite of what we just learned tonight for September for our 7th month, the opposite. Everything should be opposite. Okay, so you can do this, right? You can do this too for every month, every year. So use these tools and look at the luminaries. You can do exactly what I did. And I have here rinse, wash, and repeat. This repeats every month, every year. It's on the same spin cycle. It can be repeated until our Messiah returns, as Enoch promised. So we don't have to question where our months should start. He already has the whole calendar in the sky for us, right? Let me take a look here. All right. So let me see here. Did I have anything else in my notes here? I don't want to go too far. Yeah, I just wrote on here, just, test it for yourself. Go and take a look at it. So here you see my pictures of my little astrolabe. They come in different sizes. This is the bigger one that I have, and it has a little plexiglass top, and this is the picture of the lunar volvel. You can do this. And again, I am still a newbie to this. I'm still learning, and I get confused sometimes. Oh, what's the opposite of Cancer? I have no idea, and I have to go look it up. I'm truly still new at this, and I don't have it memorized. But I know that you can do this because I can do it, and I can go out and verify this with these tools. And so a lot of people, might say, oh, those are old tools. We can just use our app. But I'm telling you that I have tried to use the apps and they are not correct. And again, they're telling you, if you look at a lot of these apps, the sun is actually a whole constellation behind, right? Because they say that the year started with Pisces. And so if you look at a lot of these apps, let's see, I do have some apps. Let me tell you, I have I have Stellarium and I have Sky Tonight is another one that I have, and they're both giving me incorrect information. The Moon app, let me tell you, it's a lifesaver because it's very accurate. Another app that is very awesome is an Astrolabe app on your iPhone. I don't know if it's available on the other phones, but it's called the Astrolabe. Um, and I know I've put that on my channel before. I will have to put a screenshot of that as well because that is also very accurate. It matches up with the Moon app. So there's at least two apps out there that are telling us the correct information. It's pretty close. Okay, so these tools come in handy, especially when you need to prove other people wrong. So our ancestors had these types of tools. They did. Enoch taught this information to his sons. Abraham taught this information to his sons. This is just stuff that doesn't come second nature to us because we haven't been taught this. Actually, if you're like me, you were taught to stay far away from all of the zodiacs and the constellations because it's not right, right? You're going to get into some interesting information. You shouldn't be going there, right? And so I never learned this as a kid. And so we're missing out because this is what was taught from our ancestors, from our fathers, Enoch and Abraham. All of Jacob's children knew this information. They were all aware. And if you haven't looked into, I believe it's Jasher or Jubilees, talks about a lot of this information that they had tools and they were able to look up at the sky and they could tell you a whole lot of information just based off of what was coming up in the skies. All right, so I have here again, you can go to this Etsy shop and purchase from Wavy Tail, and there is a coupon code TFFT, the Fight for Truth 10. This offer expires October 31st of this year. I do not have an affiliation with her. I just emailed her and asked her politely if she could offer 10% off and perhaps I could bring her a little bit more business for the month. And she agreed to do it. She had to check out my channel first to make sure I was legitimate. And so it's just, I've already purchased what, three, four, I think 4 or 5 things from her. She has some really neat gadgets. She has some really cool things on her channel or her page. So just head on over there if you want these. They're very inexpensive, but again, you have to make sure that you get it for as close to your latitude as possible. Um, and usually it's within 5 degrees. If you're within 5 degrees, you should be fine. Some places you can buy them, you can get them, you can plug in your latitude and they'll give one to you exactly for your latitude. You can also get what's called a universal astrolabe, so you can use it in the northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, and go from there. But uh, but this is a great tool to have, and like I said, I have proven these apps incorrect, and I've also proven people incorrect. They say that there's the precession of the stars, right? Well, if there's a precession of the stars, if you've looked at I've done a couple of astrolabe videos, just short clips of how do you do a couple of things on there. If there was a precession of the stars or for the equinoxes, this information would not be accurate. But guess what? Every time I've used it, it's been accurate. So keep that in mind as well. I did just a quick video on how to do some of these things. Again, I'm not an expert on these tools either. I'm still learning, but they help you out. They really do. I go out in the daytime and I look at the sun, and I've used it as a cool little sundial to see how I can tell what time it is, what month it is. You can tell what month it is with your astrolabe just by taking a reading of where the sun is in the sky, finding out what degrees it is in the sky. You can tell a whole lot of information just by that measurement, and you can do that with your astrolabe. So it's really a really cool tool. All right, so I think that is it. So I just want to let you guys know that I'm not out here to prove other people wrong. What I am here to do is to prove scriptures right. I want to prove Enoch is not lying to us, right? There really is a right and a wrong. And we're all learning at different levels. And I hope that we can continue to prove scriptures as truth to those people who might not understand that the scriptures have a lot to do with our calendar, right? And if you've been following me for the Dead Sea Scrolls, you know that the calendar has a lot to do with everything. So there's many doubters out there who might not understand the Zadok calendar, but if you can show them the parameters for your months based on where the moon is, that's like a science experiment, right? Take this information, bring your cool little astrolabe to your friends or your lunar volvel and show them. Explain this information or show them this video that the Father is telling us what month we're in based on where the sun and the moon are together in the sky. We can confirm the parameters. So I can confirm that those keeping the lunar calendars are not correct. I can confirm that those who did intercalate this year have a moon in their September in their 7th month that doesn't match up with the 7th month. So I'm not out there to prove them wrong. I'm just displaying this information based on what I have gathered to show them that say, hey, this might be something you want to look into, and this might help show people that there's a lot of scientific truth to what we're teaching them, right? What we're sharing with them. So we can show them that the luminaries matter. And we want to continue to fight for the truth, right? We want to give them the information that's going to help them grow. And we can't help people grow if we're arguing with them, but maybe bringing this up in a conversation might actually encourage them to look at it themselves. I hope that makes sense. So that's what I have for my presentation, and I hope I didn't go super fast. I'm sure I will have to revisit this. But again, you're looking for the moons to match, okay? And then you have your parameters. So I can tell you this calendar is right, this calendar is wrong, just based on where the new moon and full moon are. So again, if you get better at this, you might get better at it than me. And you might be able to go out on a quarter moon and say, hey, it's that quarter moon is 90 degrees from the sun. So the quarter moon is in Gemini, then we must be in this month. Okay, so you can get better. You can grow in your knowledge. So I hope this helps you. I'm going to take questions. So if you have a question, I think I can try to bring this up on my screen. So, hello. I think my screen is back to working again. Let's see. If you have a question, please put that on in the chat. So we have, let's see, I want to go back and take a look and see if there were any questions. Yeah, we have not a globe. That's right. Stellarium gives bad information. What is that? Oh, okay, great. Let's see here. Let's see. I don't know why. Gives bad information too. Got to be careful. Yep, definitely have to be careful. NASA is all lies. True. Can't believe. I mean, if, again, as I said, there are people who follow the Zadok calendar, but yet they're believing the precession. And where are they getting that information from? NASA, right? So again, we have to weigh, we have to balance what we're believing and take a look at it. Don't just believe things that you hear. And even from our fellows that are following this similar calendar to us, we still have to test it, right? Test me, I promise. It's okay. Let's see. What else do we have? Lunar calendar is a Pharisee calendar. True. If you've been looking into the Dead Sea Scrolls with me, you, let me see here. Solar calendar. Okay. Yeah. If you've been looking into the Dead Sea Scrolls with me, you know uh, that they spoke against what the Pharisees were teaching, and the calendar had a lot to do with it. Over 40% of the scrolls have to do with the calendar, so it mattered. Oh, yeah. Yep, you have to get one of these, the astrolabes, yes. Um, I don't know why this is not. Okay, so when I was in school, they taught us the dippers are flattening out. That's interesting. I didn't know that. All right. Correct. The North Star and the Dippers are stars that don't rise and set like the constellations. Yeah. Mhm. I'm just taking a look here. Yes, love the fact that it's Yah's clock, his timepiece. It's magnificent and it's never changing. It's not wobbling. Some ministries are too worried about impacting their sales, calendar sales, that is. Yeah, but it's also caused a lot of division, I've noticed. I channel that I follow, there was such a hubbub over the calendar that that person hasn't posted in quite some time, and I really feel bad for them. But again, we have to be looking into this ourselves. So if you're just doing it to follow me because you like me and you're following my calendar, that's a problem. You should be really digging into it. I think the calendar is such an important topic that um, it needs to be addressed, and every single person should be looking into it. It's pretty important, right? We don't want to make an abominable day a feast day and a feast day an abominable day. All right. Let's see. Okay. We added 7 days this year on the calendar on day 4, March 19th. Okay. Let's see. Does your wavy tail promotion apply to the moon thing? Yes, it applies to any of these tools. The Lunar Volvel, the astrolabes, any sizes. She has several different sizes. I actually just ordered a really cool sundial. It's like a little mobile sundial. It's really cool. It's like a flip phone sundial. So she has some really unique things on there. She also has a sundial that can go outside. It's pretty exciting. Let's see, what else? The North Star and the Dippers don't rise. Yeah, I saw that one. Hmm. Hidden in plain sight. Yeah. Yeah, they Yeah. Oh. Oh, how do you figure out your latitude? You can actually go online and go onto your maps, Google Maps or something like that, and you can actually find your latitude. You can actually Google what is my latitude and put in your address, and it will tell you what your latitude is. Let's see. Yep, we are to test all things. Yes, a lot of you confirm test all things. Correct. Oh, yeah. Um, will this be recorded? I just came in. I hope so, because I tried. There's a lot of problems, but a lot of errors that my computer gave me today, but it should have recorded. But this is my first time doing this, so we'll see. We all need to be able to put the calendar together using Dead Sea Scrolls. It's truly doable. I agree with that. I think that's good. All right. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining me. I hope this opened your eyes to how the moon is involved. Remember, it confirms the month, it doesn't determine our month, right? Doesn't determine. So, anyway, thank you very much. And I hope that you all have a great evening. Be blessed, everyone.